Yo, 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 good morning. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the channel. And yeah, we got a few things to discuss, but it's also an AMA too. So feel free to ask some sort of question or whatever. I'll see if I can answer it. Um, but yeah, shouts out to everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Wherever you are in the world, or, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Um, Yeah, let's talk some pixels, man. We're 10 days away, 10 days away from the event. And I am excited that I'm actually going to be able to live react to the event. I'm really, really excited for that. So, yeah, what's up? What's up, MTR? What's going on, man? Really excited to, I don't know. I'm waiting for the day. 10 days, man. 10 days. A week and 3 days. Basically a week and a half. A week and a half until the event goes on. G-Boy 888. Yeah, so man, good morning. Yeah, I just got done watching Chris Perillo's live stream. Shout out to Chris Perillo. Real cool dude. And yeah, I figured I didn't do a video yesterday except for that one live stream that I just talked about Twitter, and yeah, that's pretty much over it already. I'm over it. I'm actually live streaming it on Twitter too. So this is like simulcasting to Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So yeah, as I am going along with whatever what I'm talking about, feel free to ask any questions that you guys may have about any of the Google Pixel phones, or what could possibly be in the future. That includes the Pixel Watch, the mysterious Pixel Watch, and a Pixel Fold. And my gosh. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about though was a video that I saw, and I would recommend that you guys check it out. It's really interesting. The most excited that you've ever been for a Google event. That is, I feel the same way. That is. 13 Pro Max, what about it? Okay, I'll get into that. So, I'm an avid follower of Chris Perillo, and recently watched his video comparison of the 13 Pro Max versus his Pixel 4 XL. And he took a bunch of photos and was comparing it. Hold on, I look weird. Hang on. There we go. But he was comparing the photos, and there's some feedback. There's people that look at the photos, and one of the things that I would definitely say is that when it comes to photography on your smartphone, it's really a good percentage of being like subjective. However, there were some points that he pointed out when he took photos with the 13 Pro Max and the Pixel 4 XL. Now, off jump, when he was comparing both photos and you kind of look at those photos, you're like, the 13 Pro Max is taking way better photos, right? Because the colors are more vivid, they pop more and everything like that, which is good. It is good that, you get a photo like that. But then I think a lot of people really miss the details. And it was really crazy to see when he kind of pointed it out. He zoomed in on each shot to show specific points in the photos, comparing the 4XL photos to the 13 Pro Max. And there were areas where the 13 Pro Max, the photos were blown out. Like the image in the back was blown out. Like he took a picture from his bedroom. It was dark in his bedroom, but the hallway light was on. And so you see like his TV was on. And on the 13 Pro Max photo, you look at the wall and the white is just blown out. But you don't think anything of jump. You just think it's like, it's the hallway wall. But then when he puts the same photo taken from the 4XL, you start to see detail on that wall, like, photos and frames and stuff like that. And it's like, whoa. And it left me begging, you know what I mean? Because the iPhone 13, being that it is, the latest iPhone release from Apple, video, can't argue the video is solid on that. But why is it that people are coming out of the woodwork talking about that the photos aren't that good? And it leaves me scratching my head about it, right? He did a bunch of comparisons. There was a lot of photos that he took and compared it, and it was mind blowing. Just like you know, when I tell people that pixels are good at photography, right? Like people, they listen to what I say, they may believe what I say, or they may think that that I'm just blowing smoke up everyone's rear end or something like that. And when you have people really like doing it, like comparing these photos in a non-biased way, and that's the reason why, I have trust for Chris Perlow, because he's not biased. He's not an Android guy. He's not an iPhone guy. He's a software guy, and when the software works, he's happy. When there's flaws and issues, he will point them out. So I trust his judgment. I trust what he talks about. But he makes a very good point when he was comparing those photos. Like, sure, the photos taken with the iPhone 13 Pro, they're not all bad. And there were some photos where, like, the 4XL photos and the 13 Pro Max photos, there were photos where they were like really, really close just in comparison. But then there were some where you really start to see the weakness in the iPhone 13's camera when taking a photo, less detail. I mean, there was times where I looked at the photo and I was like, okay, the 4XL, the color seems kind of dull and it's more vibrant on the 13 Pro. But then when you zoom in on the subject in that photo and you're like, wait a minute, but you can see the detail of the leaves in the tree, and in the 13, it's masked in shadow, so it's just black. There's no refinement to see the details and everything. So that's mind-blowing, which kind of goes to show, like, sometimes the newest thing is not always the greatest thing. And I'm not saying that the 13 Pro Max is not a great phone. I'm just saying that, everyone has this expectation that when the new phone comes out, it's going to be far superior to anything that's ever been released, and that it's going to do well in just about every category. And that could be furthest from the truth. Sometimes people really just got to take a step back. I mean, some people want what they back their product to be great. I know this. I'm human. And I have felt that way before. I felt that way when people like trash talk the Google Pixel phone and just named about 101 things that they felt was wrong with it. Some of them I felt were like nitpicky. And I'll go and I'll throw a rebuttal out there for the phone itself and what I think. I mean, to me personally, and no one's going to change my mind on this, but I honestly feel like that the Google Pixel phones will never, ever meet expectations to anyone's mind out there. There's always this thing where it's like Samsung does something and okay, they made an error here, but it's Samsung, and we like their Galaxy S series, we like their Note series and stuff. So here's a pass for you guys. And Apple does something or continues to ignore something that has been brought to the attention of Apple for so many years regarding iOS and everything like that, functionality, maybe just something with like the animations or whatever, and they choose to not address the issue and just continue on and just stacking upon all the problems that iOS has. And people will be like, well, it's Apple, it's iPhone, they revolutionize things, so they get a pass. The moment that the Google Pixel does something, and then it's like Google Pixel does something, may have a issue or two here or there, and it's just like, boom, you don't get a pass. Like, no, Google, you're wrong, and we're going to call you out of it. Afternoon, just popping in real fast to say hi and take care. Appreciate you. Hey, everyone, shout out to my little brother. He's not little, but I mean, he's my younger brother. But shouts out to him. And if you guys like watching gaming and stuff like that, follow him on Twitch. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, all the time, Google does not get a pass with the Pixels. It never does. And it's just so strange that has become the set normalcies within the tech community. I like Chris Perlow's takes. I'll check out those recent videos of his after this. He probably will get them. He is getting the Pixel 6 Pro. So we could be expecting him to get that phone and to do a review on it. So that's going to be pretty awesome. I'll probably get my Pixel 6 like maybe between December and February. Good morning, Blaze. Welcome. Glad to have you here. And so that's probably one of the biggest struggles, like one of the biggest struggles when it comes to Google Pixel phones. Like, and even older Pixel phones, when people talk about longevity and they talk about software support longevity, but what about longevity in the things that they do, right? Like, I can take some pretty badass photos with my Pixel 4. I've done that and posted it on freaking Instagram, and it's like people like the photos, especially like, I'm a big foodie. Hey, I'm not fat for no reason, but I like food, and I take shots of like the food that I think people should come check out, and I post those photos to Instagram and people love them. I take photos with my Pixel 3a and post those, and it still does good. Heck, I take photos with my my Pixel 3 and it still does good. By the way, this live stream is powered by my Pixel 3's hotspot on Visible, so let me know how the stream is going. I take photos with the current Pixel 5. I take photos with all these Pixels, and they still do well, even though the phone is outdated, even the phone was released like 2 years ago or a year ago or 3 years ago. Heck, my Pixel 2 XL still takes very good photos. There is longevity in these phones. Maybe not, software support wise, where it's going to get, like, and I don't know, that's the other thing that kind of baffles my mind too. It's like everyone wants to scream and be like, it needs to have 5 years of support like Apple. It just needs to have 5 years of support like them. And then what happens? Look at today's latest trend. The latest trend today, people don't stick with their phones longer than a year. They always go for the refresh. Every time the refresh comes out, it's boom, upgrade. Every year, boom, upgrade. So what's the point of having 5 years of support if you're not even going to stick with the phone for 5 years? And I'm just going to call it like it is. Some people may hate what I'm saying right now, but it's the darn truth. Like, I always see this all the time in different areas. Everyone always complains, and it's like, it needs to have 5 years of support. Apple can support their phones for 5 years. Why can't they do it? But they're the same people that are getting the refreshes every year. They don't stick with one phone. Like, if I have to prove a point and not get the Pixel 6, I won't get the Pixel 6. I'll stay on the Pixel 5 for 3 years. I mean, I have no problem staying with the Pixel 5 for 3 years. And that's what I look at, and I'm just like, whoa, where's all this coming from? Like, it's like people really want to seek out a reason for the Pixels to fail. But why? Why does the Pixels need to fail in some people's minds? Like, what is it that's so bad about a phone that it just has some people oozing the hatred for it? And I'm not talking about like everybody, because I know everyone's not like that. But what makes it ooze that? Once Google announces 5 year support for new Pixels, they will find something else to criticize. They'll criticize and say it doesn't go for 6 years. They always will. I mean, yes, for argument's sake, for the people on Reddit, Google's new to the game. That's like probably one of the biggest things I hear all the time. Google's new to the game. Apple's been doing this for years. Google's only new at it. And I just laugh because I'm just like, there's never a point where Google's going to surpass Apple in that area, right? Time and longevity. Because when you say that Google's been doing it for, 7 years, Apple's going to still be way ahead in how long they've been doing it, because they've been building their own hardware since when they released the first iPhone, which was back in 2007, I believe it was, 2008. I think it was in 2007. That was a hell of a time, right? The iPhone first came out. Everyone was going bananas over the iPhones, and then Samsung came out with the Samsung Instinct, which had proprietary software, but touchscreen, but it was resistive touch, not capacitive. And like every other company, every other company was coming up with their own version of a touchscreen phone, missing the mark that the iPhone was smartphone. They've been doing it since 2007. That's the point. Google will never surpass that. They will always be years behind, but not years behind in innovation and development, just years behind of who did it first. That aspect will never change. I don't understand when people use that as an argument point. Like, well, Apple's been doing it longer. Google will never be like Apple. They can never do it because they can't catch up to Apple. How do you do that? Do you alter the year that something was manufactured? Do you go back and say that the Pixel 1 was manufactured in 2007 just to catch up with the iPhone and have credit and ground to run on? Like, I don't know. It just really baffles me because when something such as like a photo comparison to show people like, hey, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is good, but there are still some things that it is lagging behind, and that a older device such as the Pixel 4 XL can do better at, and everyone loses their mind on it. Like, no, it can't be. You can't do that. Can't do that. It's gonna be the iPhone 13. iPhone 13 Pro Max is gonna have better camera. It does have good cameras. It does very well in video, and that's something that can't be disregarded. You always have to appreciate what something does. And for me, coming on here and talking about tech with everybody and whatnot, you can't just masquerade and hide everything that happens to be true about a particular thing. Like, you have to appreciate its accomplishments, but you also have to call out its failures. Ricardo Maldonado Jr., aka Shorty Trip. What's up, Tito? I think you meant hope you're having a great day. I am. I'm having a very great Saturday, and I hope that you're having a very great weekend too as well. Because we are 10 days away from launch day, and I am going to react to the Made by Google event live. My new job actually doesn't start till November 1st, so this is my last month to pretty much get a lot of things done. I do have to thank YouTube because YouTube was viable for a time, but I can't continue in the way that I did. So now I guess I'm back to being a part-time streamer, part-time content creator, than being full-time. Because that's what I was doing full-time, and I was relying on a lot of things. But I understand, hard times hit. People are going through hard times and stuff like that. Some, memberships didn't take off the way that I expected it to. And, I mean, people gotta like pick and choose who they super chat and all that other stuff. And, I generally do always feel like this negative thing in me when I shout out like, where people can send donations if they want to, because it just feels like that I'm asking for like people just to give me money and not really get anything back in return. That's really how I honestly feel, which is why you don't hear me really shout out donations or putting a donation link on the live stream. It's in the description. Should you choose to do it, that's by your own choice, but I'm not really asking for that anymore. So, this is not a viable thing for me to do anymore that will, pay the bills and stuff like that completely. So now I'm going back to being part-time. And that adventure starts on November 1st. However, I am glad to know that the new job and everything like that does allow me to have Thanksgiving off. So I don't actually have to work Thanksgiving, even though I'm willing to, because, holiday pay and stuff like that. Like, I like money just like anybody else does. And you got to make it somehow. So that's why I'm really happy that it all worked out to be the way that it did, is because I'll be able to actually live stream react to the Made by Google event, which I go super bananas on. And I know there's some people who are iPhone lovers that might come in and try to rain on my parade. You ain't busting my bubble. I'll tell you that much right now, because the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro is really changing the game in certain aspects that I'm looking at Google and saying, okay, you know what? This could work. Of course, people are always going to find something wrong. They're always going to try to find something wrong. Right now, the most popular thing that people despise about the Pixel 6, and it hasn't even launched yet, is the design of the phone. And people are coming up with so much different theories as to what could go wrong having a camera bar that runs across from left to right on the back of the Pixel 6. People are talking about compatibility with cases and stuff like that. How are you going to talk about compatibility with cases when the case companies build the case for the phone? They get a mock-up model of the phone so they can mold a test version of their case to make sure that all the cutout areas are lined up correctly before they go into mass production to produce these cases for sale. And so where would they go wrong with the case? How would they go wrong with the case? That's the big question. How do they go wrong with the case? That's a first for me. I mean, I get there are people who just don't like the design, and it is what it is. They don't like the design. You can't please everybody. It's not for everybody. Um, and for me, if someone was to be like, I don't like the design of the Pixel 6, okay, that's great. You don't like it and you're not gonna buy it. So that's great for you. Like no one here is gonna be mad that you didn't buy it. But it becomes a bit annoying when they're trying to tell other people you shouldn't buy it because I don't like the way it looks. Like, why does your opinion govern my decisions to buy things? Those things don't make sense to me when people do that. We'll get back to the chat here. It's like Pixels can't do anything correct in their minds, and it gets annoying. Yeah, I agree with you there. I got the Pixel 4a, and I love it. Are they really going to have a Pixel Fold? So it looks like that's in the cards. A Pixel Fold is in the cards and in the future for that to have. Now, I don't know if it's going to be released the same time as the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. A lot of sources that are throwing rumors about the Pixel Fold are generally stating that the Pixel Fold will come out this year, so before the end of 2021. So that could be anywhere between now and December. I would like and hopefully think that Google will be smart enough to unveil the Pixel Fold, or at least talk to us about it and what they're intending to do. And if there's a Pixel Watch, then this event on the 19th would actually be the perfect time for them to talk about it, because people love to talk about this stuff of it could be, but it may not be. But some people just want a definite answer. And no, a Pixel Watch is not releasing with the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. The last thing I ever heard about the Pixel Watch was that there were some issues regarding the build. And so the build has been delayed until Q1 of 2022. And that's when they say the Pixel Watch should come. Initially, it was supposed to be released with the 6 and 6 Pro. So we were supposed to have like a bunch of hardware releases, being that the 6 and 6 Pro would be like the main course, of this event. The Pixel 6, not Pixel, but the Pixel Watch being an appetizer, and then the dessert being the Pixel Fold. That was the idea of all this. Of course, it's not happening in that way, but that was the idea. The Pixel 6 will be my first experience with in-display fingerprint reader. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, a fingerprint reader, sorry. But I heard they will include some kind of face unlock once again. That might be pretty good. If they incorporate some sort of face unlock, it is going to be the same one that they did with the Pixel 4. One of the biggest confusions about the Pixel 4 is that people really, and I'm guilty of this, so I have to throw myself under the bus here. We talk about Project Soli, right? Which is, supposed to be basically radars that can catch your hand movement and respond to what your hand movement is. But that Project Soli is not 100% responsible for the Pixel 4's face unlock. They pretty much developed cameras in the same sense and same fashion that Apple has, with 3D mapping, so 3D facial mapping using the radar sensor and other sensors within the top, and then the camera itself to do an unlock. The reason why Project Soli is mentioned in the fact of doing the face unlock with the Pixel 4 and 4 XL is because the radar reads your hand as you're coming to grab your phone, so it already starts to fire up the mechanisms for the face unlock. And when it's doing that, by the time you grab your phone and pick it up to your face, it is already unlocked. It has already recognized your face and unlocked. Whereas on the iPhone, the only thing that makes the iPhone's Face ID slower is the fact that you look at the phone, you see the padlock icon switch to an unlock padlock, and then you swipe up and you're into your phone. With the Pixel 4, you don't. It just boom, and it's unlocked. And that's the only real major thing into the Project Soli that plays a part in the face unlock, but it is not solely responsible for it. That's a pun right there. It's not solely responsible for it. So if they did have some sort of facial biometric security, it's going to be in the same way. So, and the reason why I say that is because, like, I know people talk about Motorola, like the Motorola G Stylus 5G, and they're like, it has Face Unlock too. And yes, the Face Unlock has been around for a long time before Face ID was even a thing, but it wasn't in the way that Face ID did it. Like Face ID wanted to make sure that you can, that you can thoroughly unlock a phone using a face to be recognized without tricking it with something like this, without tricking it with a photo. That was the idea that Face ID had. So it used lasers to 3D map your face to make sure it's a real face in front of the camera and not a flat image of that face. And then Pixel 4 adopted the same thing, the same idea. The only problem with the Pixel 4 was that it was unlocking even if your eyes was closed. And so that's why they had to do an update on the Pixel 4 to make it to where you had, like, it had to watch blinkage, like your eyes blink, in order for it to approve an unlock based on facial recognition. But the older devices, they were just like, it would map your face, but not in a 3D way, just, like your eyebrows, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, the shape of your head and everything, your hairline. It'd map all that. And then what you could do is that you could grab the phone, have Face Unlock as your security, and then put a photo of you in front of it, and it would unlock. I did this years ago. I think on my Moto G7 Play videos, I showed Face Unlock, which is crazy. I don't know if you guys know about the Moto G7 Play, but that was probably one of my favorite phones released from Motorola. I am going to start doing a series of like nostalgic throwback videos to these things. Most of the phones I don't have in hand, so I won't have them physically here to show you guys. Some of them I do have in hand. I still have a box full of like old phones from in the past that I used, and I might just do some throwback videos to that. So we'll see what happens there. But anyways, yeah, the Moto G7 Play, it was able to do Face Unlock, but you could trick it with a flat photo. I had one of my other phones with my picture on it held up in front of it, and it unlocked for it. So that was downside. Pixel 4a is a great phone. Looking forward to another Pixel that size with Tensor. That would be cool, right? I would say maybe and hopefully the Pixel 6a will have Tensor. Hopefully Google doesn't flop on this. That is the only thing about Google, is that it could totally flop. If the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro is the only phone that Google ever develops the Tensor chip for, and I'm not trying to talk to Assistant, it launched. But if that's the only phone that has a Tensor chip and then they go back to Qualcomm, that's going to be so sad. It's going to be so sad if they do that. It is a possibility. Some people kind of like, that has escaped people's minds. But Google could eventually go back to Qualcomm if they feel like that, they don't want to invest the time in always developing a chip. I am hoping that they intend to keep this chip around and that it's not going to end up in the Google graveyard. Yesterday, I got an email to join Pixel Superfans, and I answered the survey questions. How long did it take for their next email? So here's a funny thing about the Pixel Superfans. They invited me into their Facebook group before me even filling out the form, giving them all my social handles that they asked for in that form. I know exactly what you're talking about because I got that form yesterday. As a matter of fact, yesterday morning at 9 o'clock, I seen an email from Pixel Superfans, and I'm like, I'm already in their group. I'm like, what's going on here? And I look at it, and it gives you the whole rundown of the Pixel Superfans and what they do, what it's about, and they're like, we want to know more about you. Please fill out this. Put your birth date. Put your social handles and stuff like that. That way, you can take advantage of discounts they may have. And so I just submitted mine back in yesterday morning, right after I received it. I just filled it out and then submitted it back to them. But before that email came to me, when I had announced that I was part of Pixel Superfans, I was brought into their group because they have a group on Facebook, and it's closed off. They either find you and invite you in, or you can request to go in, because some people on there were saying that they requested to join and then they were admitted in. So even then, you can do it that way. I'm not sure what's up with the Pixel super fans. They are very open now. Like, I remember when they first talked, they talked about creating this group, the Pixel super fans, and then they were very exclusive. I mean, they were like, it felt like you were waiting to join Team Pixel, like how the content creators here on YouTube are waiting to join Team Pixel so they can get their Pixel phone to do reviews on and stuff like that. Pixel super fans felt the same way. Felt like they had to find you on social media and stuff like that. I don't know what's going on today. They are now very inclusive rather than exclusive. But you know what? Like, maybe some people might not like me for this, but you know, I'll be honest about what I've seen so far with the Pixel super fans Facebook group, and it's a lot of photography, and then just, you know, like, there's people just kind of throwing like, hey, you know, I have this issue with my Pixel 3 and this and that, and it hasn't been fixed, or is there a security update that's going to fix it? Da, da, da. It's just been a place to really, someone said to, you know, kind of bitch about the Pixel phone. I'll dumb it down a little bit and say that it's become a breeding ground for complaints and photos. So C's and P's, complaints and photos, because there's really not much of discussion going on about what could make Google Pixel better. You know, I've been watching to kind of get a feel of how people are on that group before I start throwing out some posts that's going to generally try to encourage discussion to make Pixels better, or to incorporate ideas that could make Pixels more appealing to the end user rather than to the geeks and nerds. Because that is Google's biggest problem, right? Google's biggest problem is that. It's always been that. The Google Pixel phone seems like it's made for the nerds. And some people don't care for the nerd stuff. Some people want their phone to be badass and cool. And so that's Google's problem, is how do you make the Pixel badass and cool enough for people to say, yo, I got to get me a Pixel? Instead of like being like, yo, Google Pixels probably won't understand how it works because the nerds love that phone. You know, the distinction there. Do you see what I mean? Like, this is why I'm excited for the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, because the advertisement behind it by Google has actually so far been pretty good. I mean, it's been, you know, like, they've been trying to play the mysterious role. They've kind of gone in, you know, into some aspects about the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro and what it's going to be able to do. Mostly focusing on Android 12 and Material U user interface has been like kind of their selling point, because they keep talking about the phone that learns about you and then does what you want before you even want it. They're kind of pitching those things, and it's kind of cool to see that. But again, those types of things still kind of like appeal to the nerds than to the end users. Yeah. I mean, when you look at Apple, people will say like, well, iPhones appease to the nerds. It does, but Apple also branded itself to be like a very cool brand. I mean, and so by that, it don't matter. Nerds are attracted to iPhones. End users, regular everyday end users, are attracted to the iPhone. Whereas with Google Pixels, nerds are attracted to it. End users may have heard a fart or two about it, but you know, nothing that's really, you know, attracted them. So I'm really glad to see Google really kind of going in that. Their advertising, Google's advertisements actually been all over the place. I don't know if you guys seen advertisements for Google Fi. They actually have people singing jingles for Google Fi. Like, I heard one the other day, and it was very cringy, but I was like, good for Google Fi. That's how you get people to recognize that you're not just a phone company that people assume are for nerds, but you're an actual phone company reselling T-Mobile service and US Cellular service. I'm really hoping for a great trade-in value for my Pixel 3 or my Pixel 3a XL. It will help a lot with my Pixel 6 purchase. Got to compare between Verizon and Google Store. Yeah, I really wish that they had like, you know, a much better trade-in or something like that. You know what would be really, really cool? Like just something that would be totally awesome, because Google Fi has the Google Fi subscription, and they're not talking about their plans that you can, opt into and get service with. But they have what's called the Google Fi 2-year subscription. And what that allows you to do on Google Fi, and it's only for the A series, if you subscribe, you basically are, quote unquote, getting the latest Pixel A in installment payments, right? So like last year, the very first phone they offered was the Pixel 4a. So if you subscribed to the Pixel 4a, first of all, you got, I think it was like an $80 discount off the price. So instead of paying $349 over, 24 months, your actual initial pay was going to be like $279 or $289, somewhere around there. So you got the Pixel 4a for much cheaper. And after your 24 months was over, you keep the phone, but you automatically can upgrade to the next A series. So if you got the 4A, you would be able to upgrade when the 6A comes out. And you are just paying there's like $15 a month if you got insurance on it. If you decided no insurance, then it was $9 a month. And the same thing is the same way for the Pixel 5A. The Pixel 5A, if you go on the Google Fi subscription for it, it's $15 a month on top of your monthly service plan. If you didn't want insurance on your Pixel 5a, you can opt to take it off. That takes $6 off the pricing. So it makes the phone where you're paying $9 a month for the Pixel 5a. Plus, if you're like on the unlimited plan plus, then you're at $70 there. So you're like paying like $80 a month for the phone and service over time. And I really wish that the Google Store would do that in the same way too. You know what I mean? Like subscribe to the Google Store for the Pixel 6, and you get the Pixel 6, and you're paying this over 24 months, and you can upgrade after 24 months to the Pixel 8. But if you wanted to do an early upgrade option, you can pay off the remainder of the phone and upgrade to the Pixel 7. How cool would that be if they had some sort of finance upgrade options in the Google Store for Pixel phones, right? And then on top of that, have good trade-in value for older Pixels. Because while these are older, they're still pretty good. And you can refurbish these and sell them back out. Give them to another country for them to sell with their service providers out there. There's so much things you can do with older Pixel phones. They still function. They still work. They're still great. So why not do them? Why not continue? That's what I'm saying. Like they can do all these things. Because they just, was it a couple of months ago, they just opened their actual physical Google Store in New York. I think it's out like off 15th Ave and some other street. Now we need Google Stores here in Phoenix. We need Google Stores in Los Angeles. I think we need Google Stores in like every major city, right? Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston, Miami, Atlanta. Just have every major city, and eventually start spreading out into mid-sized cities and stuff like that. I really think that the Google Store should really branch out in that way and make it great for people to take advantage of these options to finance through Google directly. You could finance through Google right now. They want you to apply for credit. And it's like, if you're an average person with Google, like if you have all types of Google stuff that they can actually validate, right? Like you have Stadia, you have this account, that account, with every service that they have, a way for them to really just kind of like build some sort of trust with you. They should be able to finance the phone to you. And you pay over time and do some sort of upgrade option. This would be like a solid way to get more people with Pixels, because people will look at it. You see a lot of people with iPhones, right? Everyone's like, oh, wow, then that person's got money because they bought an iPhone. But they technically didn't buy an iPhone. They either went through some sort of like financial, finance option to get them that iPhone. A good percentage of iPhone owners had financed or had done in some sort of deal, like trade in your previous flagship device and get X amount of dollars off, right? So there's really a low percentage of people that actually pay full price for their iPhone. and a very high amount of people who go in and they're like, yeah, I have a Galaxy S21. I'm trading it in to get $700 off my iPhone 13 Pro, and they get the iPhone 13 Pro. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Well, what I'm hearing in a more specific mark is that it's $749.99 for the Pixel 6, and then $899 for the Pixel 6 Pro, starting off at the 128 storage base model, and then if you like, for instance, if you want the Pixel 6 but the 256 gig version, then it'll be $849 and so forth. What's up, Isaac? What's going on, man? How's it going? The fam is doing good, man. So I appreciate you for being here, stopping by. Good morning, Sneed. What's going on, man? Yo, they fixed my Twitter. So, man, it was so stupid what happened to me yesterday. And I did get a response to what they said. They said that like Twitter automatically flushes spam accounts, and their algorithm determined that my Twitter account was considered spam, so they suspended it. But they apologized and reinstated it. So like I'm keeping both Twitter accounts just in case if they ever like look at my main Twitter account and they're like, this is spam, they shut it down. At least I'll still be able to communicate with people on Twitter. And I'm just like, don't tease me with spam. Don't say my Twitter account is spam. Send me spam. Because I'm from Hawaii, man. We eat spam. We have like 150 something recipes involving spam. So don't say my Twitter account is spam. If you really want to get on my good side Twitter, send me spam. Like actual canned spam. And watch what I can do with that when I cook. I know it's crazy. Spam is it's the Hawaiian steak. Literally, that's what we call it. It's the Hawaiian steak. But anyways, going back to the tech stuff. Yeah, so a good percentage of people finance their iPhone, right? Good percentage of people. So why can't Google do that with the Pixels? First of all, they got billions of dollars. Let's start opening Google stores in major cities. Sneed doesn't like that. You know, side story. I had a friend of mine who loved bologna sandwiches. All right, he loved bologna sandwiches, and he would always tell us how bologna is like the meat from the heavens and everything. And then one day we were having this discussion and argument. We were talking about his bologna and everything like that, and then he decided that he wanted to get smart and be like, well, I don't care what you guys say because my bologna's got a first name. And I just came back with an immediate response from that movie Bad Boys. I clipped that part when the girl was watching Marcus eat, and I told my friend, I was like, yo, your bologna's got about 31 first names. Since then, he stopped eating bologna. He literally thought bologna was just grinded meat and pressed into a patty. And I told him, yeah, it is. But it's the leftover parts. It's the leftover parts. So your bologna's got 50 or 60 first names, man. He's never ate bologna again. Especially the bacon flavored spam. The bacon flavored spam is pretty good. I got to give it that. But I mean, there's 100 and well over 100 and more than 150 recipes with spam from Hawaii that you would. I'm pretty sure, if I made some and didn't tell Sneed what was in it, if I didn't tell anyone what was in it, and if I didn't tell nobody it was spam and they ate it, they would not really know. And it wouldn't, you wouldn't be able to identify it because spam has a very identifiable taste, right? But the dishes that we make in Hawaii that incorporate spam into the recipe, yeah, you really don't taste the spam because a lot of the seasonings and flavorings that we use really masks and changes the taste. That Rolando dude only eats bologna sandwiches. Literally no other food types. I don't know how people can stick to one particular thing to eat. My brother-in-law only eats bologna sandwiches. He'll only eat bologna sandwiches and pizza. Dude will not eat anything that's considered a home cooked meal. Like an actual meal. Me, I kind of screwed myself when I started making steaks. And so my lady loves the way that I cook steak. So now I'm like designated when it's steak night for dinner. I'm designated. You know what I mean? She'll make the potato salad or the homemade mash. She'll do that. When it comes to steak, I'm stuck cooking it, right? Um, her brother won't even eat that if I made like steak and seasoned potatoes. Like sometimes I like sweet mash with my steak. I don't know if anyone else likes sweet mash, but I do. My kids, my lady, they don't like sweet mash, so I always make a small batch just for me. But I mean, if I made like steak and sweet mash and maybe like corn on the cob, seasoned with like like a light paste of mayonnaise with lime juice and chili flakes and hot sauce. I like that. Some people might think it's weird, but it's actually pretty good on corn on the cob. With a little bit of Parmesan cheese too, if you want Parmesan cheese on it. Some people don't like Parmesan. But anyways, he won't even eat that. If I made him a plate and like walked it to him and said, "Here, dude, dinner's ready," like he won't eat it. The only thing I've ever seen him eat anything that was like considered a home cooked meal is on Thanksgiving Day when we have like turkey, ham, and all the fixings and everything like that. He'll eat that. Other than that, like every day it's like bologna, dude. Like I literally buy, I think maybe in a month, 10 to 13 loaves of bread. Just because like, in one sitting he'll make like 5 bologna sandwiches for lunch. But anyways, yeah. We went far left field. We went all the way on bologna and spam and stuff. They are cheap as hell. Yeah, they are. I mean, I grew up on it, you know what I mean? Like, when I lived with my mom, is when I was really introduced to a lot of that stuff. Just because, like, my mom, she worked during the day as like a housekeeping at a hotel, and then at night as a bartender. The highest grade level my mom ever completed was 3rd grade, and yeah, so for like a lot of like really back then, jobs that required some sort of degree to work for that, my mom didn't have that, so she had to work 2 jobs, and I think for me it was very great because it showed me a side that because I was a spoiled kid when I was young. When I was like 5, 6, 7 years old, I was spoiled by both my mom and dad when they were together. So I never really understood. Like I always thought it was normal that you had a nice house. It was normal that you had a nice car in the family. It was normal that you had nice furniture, that you had an entertainment center. I always thought those things was normal. And so when my mom, she struggled hard when I was like 8, 9 years old. I got to experience not getting the Nike shoes like everybody else did. Instead, getting whatever Payless shoe store sold, and the types of food that we were buying. Definitely, it gave me a different perspective in life, and also to me, I will always be grateful for it because it makes me appreciate everything that I have in life. Like someone could look at what I have and be like, "Yo, that's crap, that's shit," and that's great. They may think of it that way, but to me, that's gold. That's gold, especially an apartment, whether it's really luxurious looking like my previous place that I lived at, or if it seems a little run down like where I'm living at right now. I appreciate these 4 walls that surround me because I was homeless at one point in time. I lived out there on the streets, and I know what it's like not to have a safe place to be sheltered in. So these little things I don't take for granted in life. And that's why but spam is still kick-ass though. Some people don't like it, and I don't try to convince people otherwise. But I love spam. So Twitter could have just sent me a whole case of spam, and I would have been great. I would have been happy. I'd have been like, "Good job, Jack Dorsey. Thank you so much for the case of spam." Anyways, going back to pixels and all that other stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like, I expect the same things to happen this year. I expect that Google Pixels will not get a pass for any minor thing or any issue that it may have at launch. It is going to get called out. It is going to be ripped. Like, what kind of sound is this from Restream? That was so weird. All right, let's switch tracks. Anyways, I think right now Google's got about they've got about 5 new assholes because every time that they release a Pixel, I actually take that back. They have about they got about 8 to 9 new assholes. Because every time a new Pixel comes out and there's 1, 2, maybe 3 issues with it, people rip them another hole. And I know that they're going to get ripped another hole when it comes to the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for people to down talk it. I'm ready for the people that are going to try and convince me to just stop backing Google Pixels. But you know what? I'm a very passionate person. I'm very determined and strong-willed. You're not convincing me otherwise to just stop using Google Pixel phones. You could completely give up on them. You could be like, this is it. I am done. 6 pixels and none of them fit my liking. Okay, be done with them. But I say to people, when people think that they're going to come on here and try to convince me otherwise to change direction and what I like, don't do it. It's not happening. I like what I like, and you should like what you like, and that's the way that that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's why I like using that trailer in the beginning of my video premieres, the be together, not the same, because I firmly believe in that. Better were the days when everybody was trying to go after a phone that stood out differently from everybody else. Today, people are conditioned in their mind to get what they see other people getting. I typed up a blog about this the other day. I decided to type a blog. I know it's been like over a year since I posted it on my blog page. And I typed up a blog. I posted it. It's there. I'll put the link here. I'll just type it in. I'm not going to like surf around. http:// But this is my blog page. .blogspot.com. All right, so that's the link to my blogger. And yeah, I posted a blog yesterday. I typed up a blog, short blog. I think I'm gonna start doing those again, just like typing up what I feel sometimes. Sometimes it's better when I just type it out in words instead of saying it. And yeah, I talked about that. It's gone that way. And when people wonder why, that things have gone stale and dull, like I've asked that question to get people's answers to see where people are coming from on it. But to be honest with everybody, my answer to that statement of why tech seems a little bit dull is because everyone's going for the same thing, and every OEM sees what their end users are doing. So rather than them trying to be different outside the box, they want to replicate what one of their rival companies is doing, because they know that people look for that. They would rather look for getting like a Samsung phone that does what an iPhone does, or looks like how an iPhone looks, right? Like look at Motorola, and the Moto One Ace 5G has the square camera module that the Google Pixels have recently. That's about to change, thank God. And the iPhones have, right? No OEM really wants to go outside of the box. No OEM still wants to build something that's slightly different, which is why Samsung is getting all the appraisals for the Fold and the Flip, because they're doing something different. And now you have Apple reportedly going to be doing an iPhone Fold and the Google Pixel Fold. So pretty soon, Motorola is going to have their Fold and Flip and all that stuff, and then the Fold and Flip is not going to be very unique anymore. People, in a way, whether they think about it or they don't, are actually screaming to differentiate themselves from a lot of people. And today, whether I like it or not, people identify their sense of fashion through something as minute as a smartphone. Like smartphone has become fashion. It's also become the extension of the human body. It's also become a lot of things. It's become a person's best friend. It's become a person's significant other. It's become a person's way to mask what they hate about themselves and hide that and create some sort of facade that allows them to feel good about themselves. All that is done through this microcomputer right here. This microcomputer is the reason why that self-esteems are up and stuff like that. But is it genuine? That's the question to ask. Is it genuine at all? And it's actually not. It's actually not genuine at all. it's fabricated. It's a lie. You know, people have been able to lie so well nowadays on social media. People can trick you. Like, if I played my cards right, I could probably maneuver it to make people think I was a multi-billionaire. With tools such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, I could really, really, really blow the most sensual cloud of smoke up everyone's ass and make everyone think that I was wealthy. You could do that with these. That's how powerful these pocket computers are. You can do that. Of course, the flip side to it is that through these pocket computers, we can find out if you're bullshitting. We can do a search and find out that you really don't own that Lambo that you just posted on Instagram taking a picture with. There are people, and I always thought that this was some sort of like BS thing that people would talk about on social media until I actually witnessed it several months ago. So there was a guy that was parked at a Starbucks nearby where me and my lady went to have lunch together. As we were leaving to go to the car, there was a person, I guess, who was an Instagram influencer, and that person decided to ask the owner of, I forgot what kind of car it was. I know it was an exotic Euro, if they can take some photos with the car. Literally even asking the guy if he would pop the door so they can sit in it. They won't go through his stuff. They'll just take a few photos and things like that for their Instagram. And, you know, it was cool. I mean, you know, for them, because they actually got to lie to people and make them think that it was their stuff. I'm sure they did. But the guy who owned the car was really nice about it. He was like, yeah, and you know, he popped the door. He stood within an area where, like, if they tried anything, he could dive into the car and grapple with the person, but still remaining out of the shot. So, you know, you wouldn't even see like his shadow on the ground. And yeah, the person got their photos. I think they took like a bunch of photos when we were driving off. They got the photos that they wanted. They shake the guy's hand, and they started to walk on the sidewalk, walking up the road. And I was just like, yeah, weird. You guys are literally faking it till you make it, type of thing. But I mean, that's social media today, which is another thing too, because shout out to Mark, who posted a comment on my quick live stream last night regarding my suspicions of Facebook and everything like that. And look, I'm just gonna say this, right? Like, I say things on my channel, and I say things. Not everything that I say is 100% true, right? So the little thing that I said about Facebook last night may not be 100% true, you know? It may not be true at all. That's why I said, before I said what I felt about it, I said it was speculation. Speculation doesn't mean that it's a gridlock. Now, in my mind, I am free in this world to think that what I speculate is more than likely true. Because can you really trust social platforms? Do people really put their faith in social accounts like Facebook, Twitter? Do they trust everything that they see on there? Because if you do, you really need to stop, take 3 steps back, pinch your finger until you feel some sort of sting, and wake up. The reality of social is not always true. Oh yeah. They suspended me because they said that their algorithm determined my Twitter account was spam, and they apologized and they reinstated my Twitter account. I'm just like, I'm still keeping both Twitter accounts. I'm not gonna be caught with my pants down again. Like, that totally stuck. So I have 2 Twitter accounts. I have my main Twitter account, Aloha_Android, and then I have my secondary Twitter account, the Aloha Android, and that's the way it's gonna stay. Of course, I post mostly to my main account, but if anything should come up or whatever, I'll post. Or if it's something that I feel might be just slightly edgy, I'll post it to my second account. I am hungry, but I don't know what I want to eat. And it's like 11:17 a.m. here. Right? So eating between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. and then no longer eating after 6 p.m. until 10 a.m. But I went past, you know, like, I don't have to eat exactly at 10 a.m. right away. But yeah, it is time for me to eat. I am starting to actually feel that. Like, I was feeling that the hangry is what they call it. hangry when you're hungry, angry. I was feeling that way earlier this morning because I woke up like at 6 o'clock this morning, and been up since. I felt it then. Drank a couple of glasses of water to curb my hunger. Yeah, because I am back on fasting. Like I'm taking it absolutely freaking serious now. And so yeah, I drank a couple of glasses of water to kill the hangriness, and been relaxed for a while, and now it's actually time for me to eat. I need to eat in my feeding window because after that, then come 6 p.m., it's like Pauhanas already, man. I gotta stop. Oh, Pauhanas is like a slang term for like finished, done. Pau in Hawaiian means done. That's like a little slang term we always say, you know, Pauhanas. Anyways, yeah. So I got less than 7 hours left to eat. That's what you're doing as well, fasting? Do you guys want me to like start uploading videos tracking my fasting and like what habits I was able to get? Because I could do that. Maybe I can upload like small clips of my fasting adventures on my second channel, paper clips. I can post it there. I mean, I posted some food vlogs on that second channel of restaurants that I ate here. I could talk about fasting on there. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll do it for a week. I'll start uploading small clips to the second channel. Link in the description to the second channel if you want to subscribe to it. But I'll start posting like fasting video clips on there, talking about fasting and like the things that I do. And I can talk about it on live streams too as well. Because I think that'd be interesting enough as it is. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat. So I thank everyone who came in and hung out with me on this live stream. And again, if you guys want to know what I'm talking about with the photos from the Pixel 4 XL versus the iPhone 13 Pro Max, head to Chris Perillo's channel. He uploaded a video where he talked about it. It's about 20 minutes long, so it's a pretty long video. But he goes into detail and shows you guys. Like he zooms in on all his shots and everything. He tells you what lens he used from the phone and all that stuff. So definitely check out his video so you guys understand where I'm coming from on it. So the 13 Pro Max is good at videos. It is a newer phone with newer camera sensors. But does that mean that something as old as a Pixel 4 or 4 XL can't beat it? It actually can. And in my opinion, I felt like it did. When it comes to details, I felt like the Pixel 4 dominated the iPhone 13 Pro Max. But that's just me. I have a preference to my photos, and everyone has one, and that's where it becomes subjective. So anyways, you guys take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys back Monday. Be blessed. Take care. Love you guys very much. My YouTube family. Peace. Aloha.